Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Holy Roast Podcast. It is Rob and
Rachel.
And we are so glad you're tuning back in with us on Season 3. It has been a fantastic time together, and we have so many great guests coming up, including this one. And so we do encourage you to subscribe, like, share it with people within the annual conference and outside of it, and hope that this becomes a great conversation for you. Especially today, we're going to be talking about Advent, and hopefully, you know, Advent is coming. I mean, have you started looking at your worship calendar?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, good for you. You're on it. You're on it. Some of you may have, and some of you, you know, you still got like a month. You're fine. And so this will be really helpful, hopefully, for both as you continue to think about what is worship? Why do we sing what we sing? What should Advent look like? Is Advent always the same? Does it change? I mean, this is what we're going to be talking about today. And so if this is helpful for you, great. If it's helpful for your worship leadership, your lay leadership, your friend down the road, Joe Schmo, if you share it wide and far and interact and engage with us throughout this, because it's better when we're all having this conversation together. But today we have brought an expert in the room to talk about all things worship and music and Advent, and I think you're going to have such a great time sitting down with her. And this is our friend Martha Christian. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah. So as we talk about Advent, it's coming, and I'm glad, like, we're recording this, and I'm the only one that got the memo, right? So the red and the green, please acknowledge, right? This is my Christmas today, and...
Yeah, I forgot. Let's just say it. I forgot. I was supposed to wear a Christmas sweater, and I forgot. However...
And it jingled.
However, Advent and Christmas are two different seasons.
Okay. Well,
and
I guess we
Advent, light blue, is actually one of our liturgical colors for Advent.
My church does the blue. Yeah.
Mine does. We don't have the blue. We have the purple.
So you don't wear purple, though?
I did not. I accidentally wore blue for Advent.
Well, we'll talk
about the distinction, because that always bothers me of, like, do you, you know... To make a distinction between Advent and Christmas in terms of music, or in terms of, because there aren't as many Advent songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, well,
we'll get to that. Stop skipping ahead. Well, Martha, we are glad you are here, not us. And can you first describe, who are you? And why are you sitting in this chair with us today? And why should we pay attention for the next 40 or so minutes?
Well, I am a worship leader, and I've been a worship leader for a really long time. I serve right now at Broadway United Methodist Church in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I've been there for 11 years,
Awesome.
But I've been leading worship for a long time before then. And that's what I love to do and what I get to do. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me, what does it mean to be a worship leader? Like, because I think we use that term a lot, and it may be on our website or on our name tag when you walk into our church, but what in the world does a worship leader actually do?
That's a great question. Different churches probably have different expressions of that, but in our case, I'm kind of the first person, like, out leading in the party, leading in the celebration, leading in the time where, during the week, like, I meet with our teaching team to find out where we're going, and then I put together the songs that we will be leading. I arranged our band and the arrangements of the songs and the different liturgies and different things that happen in the worship service on Sunday, or whenever we have a worship service. Sometimes we have some that are not on Sunday. But the worship leader is truly kind of the first person kind of out front, like inviting everybody in, bringing the awareness of everybody to why we are gathering for worship. And reminding everybody that we're doing this together, which are really important parts of our Sunday morning time together, is where we gather together corporately to profess our love for God, and then to remind us that we are doing it together with everybody. So that's kind of my role as a worship leader.
Yeah, I love that. Did you always imagine you're going to be in worship leadership? I mean, did you do anything before you got into this kind of role? I mean, what did that look like for you?
Well, I consider myself very, very privileged, I guess, because as I was younger, we were in a smaller church, and I always had a big voice, always. And so, in the smaller churches, people kind of get pushed into leadership pretty early. We're like, here's a need, you've got a gift, let's do it. So I I was, invited to lead when I was younger and given space to lead and to grow into that. Mm-hmm. And then when I went off to college, that was a place where my gifts found a need too. And so I led through college. And then when I moved back home, I led some more, and kind of was just always, it's always been like my gift to do. And so I've been doing it kind of all along, but I've done it in like camp expression and also in the church. And so I've led worship at camps for over 20 years, just in the summers. And I'm a camp girl, so I love it. Any chance I get to sing, I've just been able to do that. So, and I know that not everybody gets the chance to find their gift out so young. Mm-hmm. But that is what I've always done. I've had a couple different jobs, but I've always been singing all along.
Always been singing. I love that. I love how when you're talking about like that beginning time, one, having a big voice, right? I think you labeled it as that. And you use the phrase making space, right? There was space made for you to use your gifts and your talents. And I think for us as like ordained clergy too, pastors, I always think about that. Am I making room for people's gifts and talents? Am I making that space for them? Am I acknowledging and calling out that gift and space? So what did that look like? One, you have a loud voice in a small congregation, small membership congregation. They think, oh yeah, get on up there. You don't even need a mic.
In tune. Have her sing.
That's right. But what did that look like for you? Because I wonder, I need to learn that of how I can do that for folks, particularly young people within my own congregation, to make sure I'm making space.
Yes, I think I had people. I've also always been very much in tune with God. Like I've had a curiosity about faith, and have been. It wasn't just that I was a good singer, but they also knew that I had a leaning towards faith, and so I think that was important too, for them to see in me. And they made space by just. Saying, okay, well, let's change the key a little bit here so that you can sing it. Because I grew up kind of didn't have a lot of women leading in any of the spaces that I saw. So I had a guy, he made space for me, and they'd change the key so that I could lead it, or asked me to bring songs that I would like to lead. And so they... Yeah, I think just finding space for me to and not feeling, I don't know, just seeing a gift in me, and then wanting to give that space to grow.
My first, so I didn't go to church till I was in high school. So it was ninth grade. I had a 10-inch mohawk, gauged ears, a nose ring, and a lip ring. Right? I mean, this was like Rob, and I don't want to tell you the year. And had no interest in the church, even like a southern Florida town. Everyone went there, but for me, I'm like a punk rock kid. But I played drums and guitar. And my first invitation to church was to play, right? And they're like, well, and so it's so interesting. Like I love the bringing about. You have this spiritual depth to you too, for like leading and professing and being there. I had a spiritual depth very different. I had no interest, but they were gonna they would feed me, and then at one point they're like, we'll pay you to play on Sunday mornings. I'm sure it was peanuts, but that was my entry into faith, was through that contemporary worship music in the early 2000s, and that changed my life very dramatically, of people saying, hey, we have this space for you. And I just thought it was so cool. I was like, I'm a paid musician right now. I stunk. I was not very good. I went off to become a music education major, but at that point, I had no idea what I was doing.
That was the seed, though.
Flailing.
That was the seed.
And they reached out, and your gift, they gave it a space to be used. And I love that. I think as the church, we need to be looking not just in music, but we need to be looking for the gifts in people. I love that you said call things out.
Yeah.
When you see gifts in other people, call them out and give them a chance to do that. I love that that's your story.
Give them opportunities, even if it's imperfect, even if they're youth. We have a youth Sunday at our church where our kids get to lead in the praise team and sing and read scripture. We have one up in the video booth, and someone says, like, why do we just do this one Sunday a month? Or one Sunday a year? This should be all year, right? And so now I have one of my young people, he's up in the video booth anytime he's needed, right?
I love that.
And there was actually one Sunday when the two other adults who are trained weren't available, and so the 7th, 8th grader, he was up there by himself, and he did a great job on the live stream because he'd been doing it for months. And so it's, no matter the age, no matter if it doesn't have to be perfect, we're just believing in them and giving them the opportunities. I think that's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mentoring in all the different areas, giving people to serve alongside each other.
Yeah.
So, so that they can learn as they're going, don't throw them like into the middle with no training or no oversight. That's not kind.
Yeah.
But
Right.
to walk alongside our youth and to help them too.
And there's relationship building there, and then from that come levels of trust and conversations about faith and about how you're living your life. I mean, they're watching these adults dedicate every Sunday morning, and then it becomes more than that, right?
Yeah.
And so the seed was planted for little baby Rob.
Little baby Rob.
With his 10-inch mohawk.
10-inch mohawk.
I have seen a picture. I can attest.
Yeah.
It is
special. It is
Yes.
special. I could never do that now for
Why not?
other types of reasons. We
Well,
won't get
sure,
into it.
let's go, man.
Let's talk the spiritual death part. I'm super interested in. And a part of this is a question we want to ask you is about your theology of worship. And that just sounds like a board of ordained ministry type question that we would
Sure.
ask our candidates, and we do ask our candidates that type of question. But I think from you, you're a practical theologian of worship, right? You're doing this day in and day out on a weekly basis with people of all ages. And can you give us a hint of what that theology of worship looks like behind you?
Yeah. I think a lot of times that we equate worship with just the Sunday morning music time.
Yeah.
And I feel that also part of my role in a worship leader is to share that worship is our whole lives. It's a matter of like our attention and our intention. What are we doing with our time all of the time? What are we doing with our focus all of the time? I am kind of famous for saying, I hope that when we come into Sunday morning for corporate worship, that this isn't a shock to your system, that you have been personally worshiping the Lord all through the week with your heart and with your life, and that when you come into worship, that it is a time when we come together as brothers and sisters to worship together, but that we've been doing that through the week. Everything that we do is worship, and every choice that we make is from a place of what do we worship? Do we worship? Are we trying to give, are we trying to live a holy and set apart life? Or are we living a life that is kind of centered around us and whatever we want, what feels good to us? And that is, I think, as a worship leader, my job is to say, hey, it's not the music.
Yeah.
It is our whole lives. And so how are we living our whole lives in bringing glory to God and loving our neighbor? That's how are we doing that?
What a lovely way to approach that too. I mean, so true, because we can bring our own sort of consumer mindset to church when it comes to worship. And how many of us have had people leave because they just didn't like the worship. And you're like, it's kind of counterintuitive according to your definition, right? Like, it's not about the quality. It's not a performance. You're not putting a concert on up there. You are leading a group of people into the presence of God, but it's not just all on you. It's the disposition that you come in with as a worshiper, right?
Yes.
Are you going to be open to the presence of the Spirit to be led into sort of that holy space with your community?
Yes.
And there's a way in which if we could be preparing our hearts all week long to enter into that space, it becomes so much less about us and the product we're receiving and so much more about the whole group of people. Get me on a soapbox because maybe we've all heard that, right? If someone's like, we got a new worship leader. I just don't really like them as much as the last one, so I'm going to go.
Just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. And that's really hard, but
it's so hard. Yeah.
I think we need to be able to go into a space with brothers and sisters, and we need to worship if there's music or no music, like instruments or no instruments. We need to be able to worship whether it's like the hymns or the contemporary songs, because it's the attitude of our heart that we bring in there.
Yeah.
And knowing that we're doing this together.
Yes. Yeah. And what I was sort of articulating is a very superficial understanding of what worship is, whereas what I hear you bringing is like such a depth of like, it's not about your personal preferences.
Yeah.
It's about this community and worshiping the creator of all, like God Almighty.
Yeah.
And much more holistic, view of what worship looks like. And we'll probably, the American church would be in a different place if we're less consumeristic and more holistic when it comes to worship itself. Yeah. But so hard to break. You're going to break some cultural patterns, right? If you start viewing it not just of if you bring drums into my worship service, I'm gone, or if you don't sing this song over and over again out of the hymnal, then I'm out too, right? It's just different, or it's not about preference. Yeah, it's about
personal. It's not about it's about the collective.
Yeah, and so much of and we'll get into song selection a little bit. Is that me and Jesus type thing, right? And that is like Jesus can be my boyfriend in much of these songs, right? That we have in a lot of modern contemporary worship. But it's less about I love you aspect of worship as loving my neighbor, right? And how does it proclaim and move me towards the other, right? And so what makes I love that idea, but I also want to zoom in a little bit. I want to zoom in on kind of the Sunday morning worship experience. What does that look like for you? What does like that preparation look like? What does that selection look like? What is going on within you as we come together for worship?
Well, there's two sides. I think there's a very practical side that's talking about kind of where we're going. I love to, the teaching team kind of develops where we're going in the whole service, or as far as like the sermon series and what we're talking about.
Can you tell me more about the teaching team? Sorry, I'm going to pause real quick. What is that?
So within our church, we have different worshiping communities. We're a multi-site church, but we also have different worship communities in one of the buildings that we have. We've got a traditional and contemporary, though we don't usually use those words anymore, but we have a service that's led with me and the band, and then there's one that has a choir. And then we have our elder, who is our senior pastor, and then we have the pastor at our other campus, and then we have some other pastors in the area that they meet together. Some of them are like growing pastors, or but they meet together and they talk through the sermon series, and they kind of like flesh out like what the direction we're going, and then they write their individual sermons, but they meet together to talk about that. And so, and I love having multiple voices, at the table for that. And they're diverse voices. So I love that. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
So our teaching team will kind of like come up with the sermon series, and then our worship leaders, we have different worship leaders for our different places too. So we individually kind of work within within our services with our instrumentalists that we have, or the vocalists. And so the worship leaders we determine the songs that we'll sing. Okay. So we have different ways of doing that. I love to, I was told early as a worship leader to make sure that you sing the whole gospel in every service. So if they, that you hear it in the message, but you sing it in the songs too. Yeah. And so I'm mindful of, as I pick songs that we're singing the gospel, and that I really love to kind of enforce the bottom line, or the response that we're kind of like really looking for in the message, and thinking through songs that help us sing that together, help us to sing our response together. So I usually look through the hymns first, and I know we're in a contemporary service, but I think the hymns are so important. So we usually have one, and we'll do it kind of either in a new way, or do it as a medley with another more contemporary song, so that we kind of have like old and new, because we have in our service, we have people from like all different ages, all different belief backgrounds. So I think, I plan the service, the songs that we do, and if we do any prayers or creeds or different things, that we'll incorporate creatively into the service. It's not really kind of a plug and play. Yeah. I really love the whole arc of the service to be. I'm thinking of everything from, the moment they get in there until the moment that we send them, and send them. And so, thinking through all the different parts of the service, so that it is pointing all of us to God, and then bringing us together to each other so that we could go out of this space to love and serve our neighbor.
Yeah. I love that arc narrative story, right, of worship, and not being just a plug and play. This is going here, and you're done, right? But how does it tell the story? And I love tell the whole gospel, right, and make sure that it's accentuated. I mean, that's such a good thing for us as pastors who kind of coordinate this, whatever our leadership team looks like when it comes to planning worship, and the staff or volunteers we have around us to do that, and just thinking through, how is it telling the whole gospel? What are we missing, right, to be able to communicate this and to experience it, right? There's kind of that response here is so important. We're not just sitting there to be entertained in that consumeristic mindset, but we are active participants. So I love that arc story narrative. I'm going to chew on that.
He's going to steal it, is what he's saying.
I am, but you'll hear it Sunday morning.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
He's going to preach on this. Yeah, he's going to preach on this in a few weeks.
That's right.
Because I surely didn't come up with it. I've been gleaning over all of this time, leaning from people that have done it before me.
When you were clearly so intentional and prayerful, I'm sure, about this process, right? And the song selection. What are you trying to communicate this week? That underlying theme. Are there particular songs that you have found are in your all's rotation right now? Or are there artists or groups you're listening to that help inspire you? I know you said you go to the hymns, which we do contemporary as well at my church, and we'll often do a different arrangement of a very familiar hymn. And that's so fun because the theology is solid, right, in our hymns.
Yes.
But are there other groups that you listen to maybe for inspiration or...
I have to say that I don't listen to a whole lot of contemporary worship music.
It's okay.
It's like a common thing with some folks. Right? Yeah.
Part of it's my personality. Part of it's I'm a singer-songwriter. And so I have always, I write a lot. And so I want to be real careful about what I'm taking in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really look for songs that are just true and beautiful, and that are easy to sing. I think that's so important. I know sometimes we can feel a little restless, and so we kind of feel like we need to always be doing new songs and pulling in new things, and like I don't want people to be bored, and I want to still be relevant, so I want to make sure that I'm doing songs on the radio. And some of those songs are really good and they're important, but I really look for songs that help us get roots deep down about the goodness of God. That's one we sing a lot. I love Build My Life because it's just talking about like foundational stuff, and it's so catchy. And so
we did that on Sunday.
Yeah. So I really I look for the lyric to make sure that it is very true and that is drawing us to worship of God. I'm real careful about, I don't like to do a lot of songs that are just vertical. And by that, I mean, I don't want it to be me and Jesus just in this moment, because I think those are like personal worship times and this is a corporate worship time. So I'm looking for songs that are like we songs that we can sing together. Yeah. And it's very important to have those vertical songs, but the songs that bring our attention to God, those are the ones that are going to be the ones that I pick. And we're going to sing them. I'm going to, within a month, we're going to sing a couple times because I want people to be able to sing them in worship. I don't want them to be fumbling with the words or the melody. I want them from their heart to be able to sing them. And that
takes time.
Yeah,
it
does.
That takes time for sure.
Where do you find new songs? Like when you're trying to think of...
do you write them? Do you do some of your own songs at Broadway?
So this Sunday was a good example. So I have a gal who's leading with worship with me right now. So she brought a song that she had heard, and so we did. It's called "Friend in Jesus," which is an older Kane song, and so we did that. But then we were looking for a song that had that fit the verses that we are, and she said, we don't have one, so she wrote one, and together we ended up writing the song and doing that. So, but I know not everybody can do that, and and you don't have to strive for that or to make that a goal for you. But if it can be done, I mean that's fun too. Sometimes I'll listen to Worship Together has an email thing, and they'll send out new some some like CCLI, like they'll have, like, I like to look and see the common, you can look to see like the top 10 songs that people are around the country are doing. And you can see the songs that everybody, like the church, is singing. And so I really like to look there sometimes to see like, okay, what is the church? Not just
Big C.
Yeah, the Big C church. What is the church singing right now? So, because I want us, I mean, if we all get together somewhere, I want us all to have some common songs that we sing.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Well, as we said, we're getting closer to Advent. And part of why we wanted to do an episode this time of year to drop in November is for folks to be thinking about, maybe as a resource of their own themes or what they're going to approach this year. So I'm wondering for you and your worship staff, maybe with the teaching team, when do you all start prepping for Advent?
So I have a note in my calendar mid-October to make sure that we have a planning meeting set up so that we can start the conversation, because we have a big Christmas Eve service that we do, and we have some other we do like when Christmas is hard service, on the
like
solstice.
Blue Christmas, longest night.
Yes, and so we do some other. And there's just, and we do a special music Sunday. And so there's a lot to plan. So mid-October is kind of the good time to just make sure that you start the conversation. I've been in spaces where, it's like the end of November and you're like, oh no, we got to plan Advent.
There it is.
Advent 1 is next Sunday. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's a little, I don't like to work at that pace. Mid-October, we kind of, the teaching team has their idea of where we're going to go, like the general themes.
The sermon series. You all are series-based. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And that's a gift to your pastors. If they can do series, you have 4 to 6 weeks to be thinking on a theme and to really be working that out. But yeah, we do series, and which has been like for a long time based on the lectionary, which has been cool to see. You can do both.
You can do both.
You can
absolutely,
do both.
Absolutely. You said after so many years, you've been around worship leadership from the time you were sounds like a teen or a young child at church. And you mentioned trying to have new songs or keep it, especially around Advent and Christmas. How do you keep things sort of fresh or, I don't know, exciting, maybe not be the right word, but like we know it is a time of year when you have a lot of visitors, right? Or when some people who maybe haven't been, they come back, and there's always this pressure, at least for a preacher, of like, you want it to be excellent because you know that there are others who maybe haven't been in a while. From your perspective in worship leadership, what are some things that you all do to try and keep it, like we all know the story.
We think we do.
Oh, yeah.
We think we do. I have found, especially in the past 5 years, that we have been so unsettled. I feel that with the pandemic, with the shutdown, with the disaffiliation, with all of the things that we have gone through, especially as the Methodist Church, there is a shaking that has happened within us. And there is a coming back that is happening, and I pray that we're all seeing this in our in our churches, that there are younger families that are coming back, and there are young adults that are coming back. We've experienced this real recently, and we kind of are asking them like, what's bringing you back? And they're like, I grew up Methodist, and that was the last place that felt like home. And so, in light of that, I feel a very our God is the most excellent thing that we can have. Yeah. The story of the good news of great joy for all people is the best message that we have to give to the world.
Amen.
And so I feel kind of a responsibility to keep coming back to the themes like hope, love, joy, and peace are what our world desperately needs, and offering them in the simplicity of the good news of the gospel. We can look at different angles of the gospel, but it is such good news for all people, and it needs to be that, And by coming back to those roots of like hope, peace, love, and joy, and just reminding us of those foundational things for us. And to know that it is okay to come back to the foundational, fundamental things of our faith.
Yeah, this is the good news. I mean, the incarnation, God coming to be with us in the mess.
Yes.
Right? In the brokenness, in the vulnerability of, It reminds me of a pastor mentor who told me one time that at Christmas, in Advent, you want it to feel like home cooking. There's a reason why, you said coming home. It's like there's a reason why we sort of around these family gatherings, you tend to have traditions or you eat the same things every year. It's familiar. It's comforting. It's inspiring in that sense. And so in that way, it's like okay to do a lot of the same things every year because that's what can ground us in a time when we feel like we've been shaken, right?
Yeah. But it's important also to examine those things that you're doing.
Sure.
Don't just be doing things because they're familiar. Make sure that they are rooted in truth and they are rooted in connecting people to God and each other.
Absolutely. And I think that's what he meant by like people are coming to church. Maybe they haven't been in a long time, but they're coming because it feels like home. Right. And they want kind of that home cooking, right?
Yeah.
Not too comfortable, right? But what is familiar. Yeah. So you kind of answered around this, but I'm wondering if there's anything more directly that you just feel like our world needs to hear right now, like this Advent.
That I just keep coming back to that good news of great joy. For all people. That is where I keep coming back to, that we need to know that we are, that we're so loved by God who comes to be with us in the midst of the mess, in the midst of the busyness, and that He is our greatest reward. His presence is what I want people to long for. Because in the presence of God, we are transformed. We're conformed not to the world, but so the good news of great joy for all people, and to like look at the different parts of that. Like I want everything, I want us to live into that, into its fullness. Yeah. And to be reconnected to joy and not fake joy. I want
resilient joy.
The church to be connected to true resilient joy. That's a great way to put it. That is just, we need it.
We do.
We do. And we have it. We have joy. We have joy because God is with us and for us. And we are,
and our future is sure because of that. Even though there's so much uncertainty right now, like we know our future with God is sure. And so because I feel like one of my refrains this season has been like, joy is resistance, right? Like resistance to the culture that we're living in right now, our culture of sort of fear and violence and hateful rhetoric and pinning us as enemies against one another. Like every single aspect of Christ calls me to live differently than that. Right. And so to actually still find joy in things, to befriend new people, right. To keep living, right. That's an act of faithful resistance. Right. Yeah. And hope. I think that's also practicing hope as believers right now too. Yeah. So I'm hanging on, I have an idea for Advent. I haven't yet scheduled my planning meeting like Martha has, but I'm holding on to those two words, good news of great joy for all people. So great joy and all people are the two things that are resonating with me right now of like, and all means all. Yes. It's for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Because that God came to, why? I keep thinking this, there's the line of like, he came humbly and low. Why else would he come so humbly and low if it was not for all people?
All people. Yeah.
And how can we embody that? How can we look for people who feel that they're on the edge and that they aren't welcome into that? How can we bring the good news to people that don't feel it's for them, so that we can say, no, it is. It is so good, and it is for you.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Amen to that. Yeah.
We have lots to think about and plan through, and what a gift. Thank you for journeying through that. I know for many of us, we're going to be chewing on it, right? And we're going to be thinking through as we plan for Advent or continue to plan for Advent or prepare to think about planning for Advent, no matter where we may coming in at it. There's just so much we can be thinking through. And part of this is, I'm hoping we give people tools and resources, and we'll put in the show notes this time maybe some things that you've talked about throughout this, and then maybe any other things we may be thinking about would be fun to be gifts to our pastors and worship leaders throughout the annual conference and beyond of how we can be doing this together. And gosh, what a opportunity we have, right, to share that great news for all people.
Absolutely.
I've already picked my series.
Congratulations.
I'm basing on Honest Advent. We've done that with Scott Erickson. So we're doing an art show with it that goes with it, and then
there you go.
preach on the themes throughout it, and kind of add more of that creativity aspect around it. It's the same message, right? I love that same incarnational message. It just helps people be invited into the story itself from many different places.
And one thing we talked on earlier, and we didn't mention it, but the difference between Advent and Christmas time.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So Advent is the season of waiting, and we are waiting in hope, waiting in peace, waiting in love, waiting in joy. But it's kind of it's the already but not yet, and so we are in a season of waiting. So I mean, I don't want people to be rushing through with like the big crisis come like. There's also a season of Christmastide that comes Christmas
12 days.
Yes, exactly. That comes
Celebrate
after.
So don't take your trees down.
Exactly.
We don't until Lent,
Not until Epiphany or February if you live in my house. Yeah.
Just keep going.
But the season of waiting in those things. So we don't rush it. Give it some time and let the Spirit lead on what your people need.
Yeah.
And
so do you feel that pressure, though, of like I've been in some communities where you're like, we will not sing O Little Town of Bethlehem until Christmas Eve.
Joy to the world.
Or then you have a hanging of the greens. And at week Advent 1, they want to sing all of the Christmas hymns. And so I'm a little bit of a stickler. I'm like, maybe week 3, we can do one.
Oh. Wow.
Right? Because I really don't want... I want to lean into the waiting. I don't want to sing the Christmas stuff until... But you sometimes have to meet your people halfway, right? Yeah. So do you feel that pressure?
Yes.
When you're song selecting?
Because I'm a very literal person. So I'm like, literally, we cannot go from here yet. Yes. But I'm realizing there's a whole lot of grace. Yeah. There's a whole lot of grace to be in it. But to be sensitive to not rush. Yeah. Don't rush it. Give it some time.
And to be fair, there are like 4 Advent hymns in our hymnal.
Yeah,
there aren't as many as we have Christmas songs,
That's
right?
Yeah.
And a lot of other traditions that are producing contemporary Christian music, they don't celebrate or observe Advent in the same way, right? So
nobody likes to wait.
Nobody. How countercultural is that? So from Thanksgiving on, it's like they're in Christmas mode, right?
My soul is usually not ready for that. Right. I need the time to kind of prepare.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with Martha. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you. We have one last portion of the Holy Roast podcast, and this is our Holy Roast.
We did not prepare you for
rapid fire questions that we want you to respond whatever comes to mind first.
And we've been using this same set for all of season 3, just a way for our listeners to get to know you a little better, like fun questions.
Yeah. So kind of get to know you. It'll be great. Yeah. So here we go. First one. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
I mean, I really want to fly, but is that considered a skill?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It can be super.
I really would love to just be able to fly. Yeah. Not with my body. I just want to fly. Yeah. I think that would be super fun.
Just take off.
That might take some practice, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, but that'd be fun too.
Right. Yeah, she can master it.
Hopeful waiting. How do you take your coffee or tea?
Black.
Oh, wow.
Black coffee. But I didn't always. And I used to always have like cream in my coffee, but we went through a time where my family lost their house in a fire, and I went through some like deep grief, and one of the weirdest things that happened was I suddenly wanted just black coffee. And since then I've not been able to have cream in my coffee. It's just kind of just black.
Very
hot or iced?
Hot.
Okay. If you could have a lunch session with any theologian or worship leader, who would that be?
I love Rita Springer. So I think I would love to have lunch with her and just talk about, she's been doing this for a long time and has been faithfully doing this for a long time. So I'd love to just talk with her.
Yeah. What is something you would tell your younger self, but they probably wouldn't listen?
I would tell her that she is enough and that she's going to do great things.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
That's really good. We all need to hear that. So good. Last one. What's bringing you joy right now?
I am naturally a pretty introverted person, and for a long time, I would just prefer to do a lot of stuff by myself and on my own. But truly, my joy has been in this past couple years of kind of leaning into community and leaning into like real honest community. And so my joy is really coming from spending time with people and being fully me. And, not having to put on any mask or anything, just to be weird, wild, and wonderful me, and and getting to know other people, and because that's been a change for me. So, just honest community brings me a whole lot of joy.
Yeah.
And new funk music. It's this new genre that I found that I'm like obsessed with, and so my new funk tunes and community.
That's awesome.
I'm going to have to check that out.
The new funk.
Oh, it's groovy.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's so good. Well, thank you again, Martha, for this
Thank you,
conversation.
Martha.
It's
Thank
been
you.
rich for us, and I know going to be for other folks who watch this and listen to it, and going to be, I think, inspiring for folks. So be sure to comment and engage with us, share it with other folks. Let us know what if you've already planned your Advent. What's your theme? Share it with people.
Yeah, I'm still looking for ideas, so drop them in the comments.
Send them straight to Rachel, and she'll pick the best one, I guess, and you'll get a reward is in heaven. But anyways, I encourage you to engage with us. Let's know that you're listening and other ways that we can be alongside of you in this journey. So thanks, friends.